How you doing, YouTube? It's Will from Middle Development. This is my 353rd weekly update. I'm in studio A, B, C, I guess that makes this D. This is just one of the hallways in my house. My bedroom, studio A, is currently preoccupied, so figured I'd just shoot a quick video this week out here and just go from there. And this week is the week before the Europa, which I've been trying to figure out how to sort of describe this comp. It's not that I'm not taking the competition itself seriously. It's just that the Nationals record breaker event is more important to me. It would be really cool to be able to say I'm a national record holder. Mostly because I've honestly never won anything, ever. The closest I've ever gotten, especially in any athletic competition, is second place in a local 5K for my age group, which I don't care about those anyway, so it was one of those things where it's like, oh, goody, I got second place here with zero training, okay, whatever. So being able to say, yes, I am number one at something, it's an important thing for me to be able to say, and it would be really, really awesome to be able to say it. So this week was a bit of a sort of a deload going into the comp. Essentially, I am prepped to peak next week and perform the best I can on hopefully everything. But one thing I did do on Monday was give the Farmers Hold one last little hoorah. And part of it was I wanted to see how far I progressed with it and go from there, see if my programming had actually worked, which I think it did. I mean, I've all but gotten it in comp. So when I first started and did my first attempt at the record in the gym, I had put 220 on the thing. I could barely hold it for like 30 seconds. And so this was about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago, probably 2 months at this point. And my grip is pretty good, and I knew it was just like, okay, I can hold it, so that's a good place to be able to just pick the thing up in the first place. That's definitely a much better starting point than having to work up to being able to hold it at all. So I said, okay, and I did a lot of work in the 60 to 70% range for multiple timed holds, beyond the record, usually a minute and a half. And then worked up to, somewhere in the 80% for just like 1 or 2 sets a week, holding that weight for a minute 30. And then took like 2 weeks off without touching it at all. Mostly because I was just feeling like hell. And I was like, man, I don't feel like I have it today. And Monday, did my squat training. I said, well, I don't have anything else to do. Let me give it a go. And I actually put 215 on there. So it's like a 98%-ish of the record weight, and I ended up holding it for a minute 15. And the record right now is 220 for a minute 8. So I'm like, well, hell, you put 5 more pounds on. Yeah, totally. And the 115 was not. I just put it down at 115 because I was like, that's good enough. That's enough confidence building in me to know, hey, as long as I grab it this same way, it's going to be a different implement. And I'm actually counting on the handles being a little bit nicer than these are. The handles we have at the gym are painted, and they're I don't want to say they're slippery, but they're more slick than a lot of Farmers handles I've ever used. So I'm hoping these are a little rougher, and then I'll be able to set a really kind of a stupid time, and I'm shooting for like a minute 30, because I don't want to just break the record. I want it to be like, no, he absolutely, unequivocally got it, and there's no question. It's his. And so very much so looking forward to that next week. The crazy part is when I do my next weekly update, which will be Friday, I'll have done it because I weigh in on Thursday, and then Friday I will, I believe it starts at 4. By the time I get home, I'll be a yoke record holder because there isn't one, so I'll be setting that. I'm just going for like 700. I haven't touched yoke in probably 2 weeks, and I didn't go that heavy when I did it. So I'm hoping the skill will still be there and the strength will still be there. I'm stronger than I was in general, so I'm hoping that just getting under it and just going through some warm-ups. I figure 700 is a respectable number. Nobody will be like, oh, he's 700 nothing, It's like, that's entry level for like 181 to 175 guys. The 700's a respectable number. If I was really serious about that particular record, I probably would have trained it a little bit more and probably shot for something a little more ambitious, like 8 or even 850. But if I get to 700, and if I do 700, I'm like, I've got more, I'll go more. But I'm not all that interested in killing myself too hard on that particular record. The other record they'll be testing is the log, which I think the log for the 181 guys is like 300 pounds. So needless to say, I will not even be attempting that one because there's just, I can't even clean, I have trouble cleaning a 230 log, and I can't even press a 190 something log half the time. So overhead is not my specialty right now. Grip is, so I want to get a nice record on grip, and that'd be really cool to do. So that's the plan right now. And like I said, I got that nice confidence boost on Monday, being able to hold like 98% for well over the record, and I felt like I had 10 to 15 seconds more in me at least before total failure. And the funny thing was, the first 45 seconds I didn't really feel anything, and then by like a minute, that's where I really started to, like, my body was starting to feel it. But my hands never really felt like they were going to slip at any moment. Like, when I locked them in, they were locked in, and they were locked in well. So the plan is to basically make sure I lock those hands in really well, day of. And hopefully by the next, at the next weekly update, I will be the Nationals record holder for the 181 class on the Farmer's Hold. And that'll be awesome to be able to say and put in my Instagram profile. Other than that, squats went pretty good this week, honestly. Ended up working up to I was able to do like 285 for a set of 3, and it honestly felt fine. It felt totally fine. After I'm done with this comp, I'm going to change my squat programming just a touch, because I'm noticing what I'm doing right now is I'm getting pretty good at moving heavier weights. Like, just the thought of being able to do 285 for multiple reps is already, like, compared to where I started when I first changed my squat, it's just like awesome. Don't get me wrong, but I've noticed that my peak is just not good, and I think it's because my body is not acclimating to these heavier weights, properly. So I need to start touching like 315 a little bit more. Maybe after I hit my, heavy sets of 280 on Monday, I should have done like 315 for a single or two, just to, hey, by the way, this is what 315 feels like, you know what I mean? I feel like at any day of the week I could still hit 315 no problem, but I want to be higher up there. I need the number to be higher up there. So gonna change that a little bit. The deadlift program so far has been working really well. Been PRing at this body weight. It's PRing. Pretty much every cycle, end of every cycle there, which is like basically based on a 4-week program. So that's great. I know that honeymoon period's not going to last much longer. I feel like maybe I've got another 2 cycles like this in me, but I'll just move some things around, and it might turn into like deadlifting instead of 4 times a month. We'll bump it up to 5 or 6 times a month. Just do some, not necessarily speed work, but something along those lines of speed work, just accumulating rep work at certain ranges, kind of stuff for the deadlift. And then overhead, once this comp is over, I've got another comp in about 4 weeks, so 4 or 5 weeks time, and I'd like to be able to get that overhead. That'd be nice to be able to get that overhead. So I'm going to work really hard to try to get used to those heavy weights, and write kind of a quick 4 to 5 week program that'll hopefully set me up for a good PR there. The good news is it's got a dumbbell in it too, the comp, so I'll have those two to sort of, if I have a bad week on the axle, I can have a good one on the dumbbell. So we'll see how that goes. We'll just I'll just keep grinding and keep going. And next week you will be looking at the Nationals record holder for the Farmer's Hold in the 181 class, and that'll be awesome. Finally win something. That's why we set goals, right? To finally make them come to fruition and be something, right? There's also some really cool news on the stone making front, but I don't want to talk too much about it right now because the deal is not 100% set in stone, pun intended. But stay tuned, and I will let everybody know the awesome news. So you may want to subscribe if you aren't. I'm sure most of the people that watch this are subscribed. But if you're not, feel free to, so you can keep up with that cool news coming out, hopefully within the next couple weeks, whenever I'm allowed to announce it. If you don't, then what's your excuse?